All right, let's talk about a problem that I know has driven pretty much every AI developer crazy at some point. How do you get good, reliable data from X? The platform formerly known as Twitter. If you've ever tried to get your AI agent to just understand what's trending, or track mentions, or even just read a single tweet, you know the struggle is absolutely real. So today we're going to break down why it's so hard, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. So let's just start with the big question, right? The one that's probably cost you a few late nights and a lot of frustration. Why can't your AI just read Twitter? It seems like it should be simple. You ask your agent to go fetch a tweet, and it just fails. Why is that? Well, here's the brutally honest truth. That free API that everybody used to lean on, yeah, that's gone. So you think, okay, I'll just scrape the site. Nope, you're going to get rate limited or blocked almost immediately. And as for trying to automate a browser with something like Selenium, the front end of X changes so often that your scripts are basically guaranteed to break. It's a perfect storm of frustration. But what if there was a better way? Well, this is where X Tweet Fetcher comes in. Now, this isn't just some random script. It's an OpenClaw skill. And if you're not familiar, OpenClaw is a really cool open source framework for building your own personal AI assistants. So you can think of this as a powerful new tool, a new sense, really, that you can plug directly into your agent's brain. So what is it exactly? Well, at its core, it's a tool that fetches tweets, entire user timelines, even all the replies in a thread, and it gives it all back to you as clean, structured JSON. And here's the best part, the absolute killer feature. No login and no API keys required. It just works. And this quote from the project's own documentation just nails it. The whole philosophy here is to be agent first. You run one simple command, and you get back data that your code can immediately understand and act on. No more messy HTML parsing, no more fragile CSS selectors, just pure usable data. Okay, now what I think is really clever about this tool is its two-tiered approach. You get a whole lot of power right out of the box, but then you have the option to unlock even deeper, more powerful capabilities when you really need them. Let's break down what that actually means. So this slide lays it out perfectly. On the one hand, with zero extra dependencies, you can start fetching single tweets or searching by keyword right away. That's fantastic for quick, simple tasks. But when you're ready to get serious, you can add an optional component called Camofox, and that unlocks the heavy-duty features, grabbing entire user timelines, mapping out complex reply threads, and even monitoring for mentions. So what is this Camofox thing? Think of it like a stealth browser on steroids. It's a highly customized, headless version of Firefox that's designed to mimic a real human user at a very, very deep level. This allows it to fly under the radar and bypass most of those sophisticated anti-bot systems that would normally block your scripts. It's the key that unlocks that next level of data access. Now, beyond just grabbing data, X Tweet Fetcher is packed with really smart features that are specifically designed for developers who are building automated workflows. And this, right here, is what elevates it from just a neat tool to an absolutely essential one. And check this out. This is one of its most elegant features. It uses cron-friendly exit codes. So when you run a script to monitor something, it returns an exit code of 0 if there's nothing new and 1 if it found something. What does that mean for you? It means you can trigger your next action with a super simple shell script. No parsing text output. It is just incredibly clean and robust. Okay, this part is just plain cool. The tool also has this novel feature called X Tracker, and it's designed specifically to monitor a tweet's growth and detect the exact moment it starts to go viral. And get this, the whole idea was actually inspired by endpoint detection algorithms that are used in semiconductor manufacturing. How cool is that? So how does it pull this off? It's a pretty sophisticated multi-stage algorithm. First, it uses derivative detection, a bit of calculus, to spot any sudden acceleration in likes or retweets. Then it uses a sliding window to smooth out all the random noise. After that, it fuses multiple signals into a weighted score, giving more importance to things like retweets. And finally, it has a confirmation step to make sure it's a real burst and not just a false positive. It's a surprisingly smart way to track virality. All right, enough theory. Let's see what this looks like in the real world. Talking about features is one thing, but seeing it in code really makes it click. So let's look at a couple of actual agent workflows. So here's a super simple Python example. You just import the fetch tweet function, give it a URL, and boom, it returns a clean dictionary that your agent can work with immediately. You can see right away how an agent could easily grab the text to summarize it, or look at the engagement stats to decide if this is something important it needs to pay attention to. And here's that automation logic we were just talking about put into practice. This is a simple cron job. It runs every 15 minutes and checks for new mentions of a username. If the script exits with a code of 1, you know you've got new mentions, and you can trigger another action. Maybe send a notification to your Telegram bot. It's simple, it's robust, and it's incredibly effective. Now let's be real for a second. To give you a balanced view, we have to talk about the limitations. First, Camofox, the key to all those advanced features, is a separate thing that you have to set up. Second, while this tool is good, it doesn't make you invisible. If you start polling at a super high frequency, you can still get your IP address rate limited. And finally, and this is crucial, it only works on public content. No private accounts, no DMs, that's just out of scope. So what's the big takeaway here? The bottom line is this. X-Tweet-Fetcher is a practical, really well-designed solution to a very common, very annoying problem. It takes the chaotic, messy, and inaccessible world of X and Twitter data, and it reliably turns it into clean, structured, agent-ready intelligence that you can actually build things with. And that really brings us to the final, and I think most exciting thought. For so long, this incredibly rich source of real-time public conversation has been locked away from our AIs. But now that a tool like this exists, that door is finally open. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Now that the data is unlocked, what's the very first thing your agent is going to learn?